Hello everyone, this is Cherie, and back in 2021, I bought myself a Christmas present. This book, Everyone's a Critic. This is a book of 52 challenges where you will watch, rate, and record information about the movies that you watch. Inside, they have 3 summary pages of the challenges. And then you get into the challenges and you will write the title, the year released, the runtime, the genre, the MPAA rating, your rating or how many stars you would give it, the director, the producer, the writer, the composer, any awards received, memorable quotes, and then you answer personal questions about the movies. So, let's get into it. I'll show you the 52 movies that I watched. Starting with the Best Picture winner, I chose Terms of Endearment from 1983, a melodrama about a hard-to-please mother who is trying to move on in life. I gave it 2.5 stars. It had great acting by Shirley MacLaine, Deborah Winger, and Jack Nicholson, but I really felt like it was a Lifetime Channel movie. So films I preferred from that year, 1983, were The Dead Zone and Silkwood. Number 2, a movie classic. I chose Jurassic Park from 1993. Trapped on a remote island, a family struggles to escape from dinosaurs set loose in a wildlife theme park. This is the first of 4 films directed by Steven Spielberg that I watched during this challenge, and I gave Jurassic Park 4.5 stars. What a fun ride. Why isn't this in my DVD collection? It's one of those films to watch every year or so. Number 3, low budget, big box office. The Terminator from 1984. A human soldier is sent from 2029 to 1984 in an effort to stop a killer cyborg whose mission is to execute the mother of the leader of the resistance. The budget for Terminator was $6.4 million, and it earned $78.3 million at the box office. I gave this one 4 stars. It's great fun. A movie starring animals. I chose The Black Stallion from 1979. After being shipwrecked with a stallion, a boy bonds with the horse and trains him to race after their rescue. I gave this one 3 stars. I'd forgotten that I had actually seen it before, so it didn't stick with me that well. It's a family film geared toward young boys and horse lovers. The early film of a famous actor or actress. I chose A Nightmare on Elm Street from 1984. A teenager suffering from nightmares uncovers the dark truth about a supernatural serial killer who stalks her in her sleep. I gave this 3.5 stars. It doesn't hold up as well as I remember. I saw this when it came out and it terrified me, but now it's just kind of campy. And Johnny Depp was hardly recognizable. This was, one of his earliest films, I believe. He played kind of just like a blank stock character. This is great for horror movie buffs and fans of 80s films. With subtitles, Drive My Car from 2021. A renowned stage director learns to cope with his wife's death after he receives an offer to direct Uncle Vanya in Hiroshima. This is the first of 10 international films I watched during this challenge. I gave Drive My Car 4 stars. It's slow burn cinema. It's harder to pay attention to all of the visuals and reading subtitles, but I still think it's worth it. Dubbing actors often don't have the same nuances or vocal textures as the original actors do. A stop motion film. I chose Shaun the Sheep movie from 2015. Shaun and the farmer get lost in the big city, and it's up to Shaun and the flock to return everyone safely to the green grass of home. This is the first of 5 animated films I watched during this challenge, and I gave Shaun the Sheep movie 4 stars. This also could have been the silent film challenge, as there was no dialogue. I enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would, although Coraline is still my favorite stop motion film. Ivan's Childhood from 1962. During World War II, a Soviet orphan works as a scout behind German lines. 4 stars. This is an excellent movie. It's extremely visual, so not too much subtitle reading required. It's a definite rewatch. This is the third film I've watched by acclaimed Russian director Andrei Tarkovsky, and my favorite so far. And this is a director who has only directed 7 features in his life. An independent film, Fruitvale Station from 2013. Returning to Oakland after ringing in the new year in San Francisco, a young black man is swept up in an altercation with police that ends in tragedy, based on a true story. 4 stars. This is one I had avoided because of the subject matter. We know it ends in tragedy. It was directed by Ryan Coogler, and I watched this for my role of the media producers class. There was a little too much handheld camera work for my taste, but I would still recommend it. It's a great film. Ryan Coogler went on to direct Creed, Black Panther, and Black Panther Wakanda Forever. A family-friendly film, Encanto from 2021. I just love this film. Of course I did. I gave it 5 stars. A Colombian teenager has to face the frustration of being the only member of her family without magical powers. I think everyone should watch Encanto for its great story, songs, and cultural significance. It's just so great. I watched it 3 times last year. Best Original Screenplay winner, also 5 stars, Get Out from 2017. A black man visits his white girlfriend's parents for the weekend, where his simmering uneasiness about their reception of him eventually reaches a boiling point. I watch this movie once a year now. It's extremely fresh and original, and I'm a huge fan of Jordan Peele as a writer, director, and actor. I can't wait to see what he does next. Controversial film, Titan from 2021. A car show dancer with a titanium plate in her head meets a firefighter searching for his long-missing son. I gave this 2 stars. A lot of YouTube reviewers passionately loved this film, so I thought I would too. But I don't like body horror, serial killers, or unsympathetic protagonists. So this wasn't the film for me. Based on or turned into a TV series, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. After his father goes missing while pursuing the Holy Grail, Indiana Jones must complete the quest before the Nazis do. I gave this 4.5 stars. I had recently added the Indiana Jones quadrilogy to my DVD collection, so I watched them all back to back. However, this is the one that inspired the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. I would recommend this fun and funny action-adventure film to just about everyone. While Raiders of the Lost Ark is my second favorite film of all time, the script for The Last Crusade has better character development, and it's such a joy to watch when Sean Connery and Harrison Ford are verbally sparring as the father and son. And Alison Doody is great as Nazi agent Dr. Ilse Schneider. Based on a true story, Erin Brockovich from 2000. A single mother becomes a legal assistant and helps bring down a power company accused of polluting a city's water supply. 4 stars. This is a great story with great performances that still resonates today. A B movie, Basket Case from 1982. A man carrying a basket that contains his formerly conjoined twin brother seeks vengeance on the doctors who separated them against their will. 2.5 stars. This was a definite WTF film. It was shot on 16mm film with a $35,000 budget, and it's a horror cult classic. Silent film, Champagne from 1928. by Alfred Hitchcock. A spoiled heiress is forced to get a job after her father tells her he has lost all his money. 2 stars. I like Hitchcock. I like champagne. I did not like this film. It's boring. And the title is misleading because there's very little champagne in the movie. An animated feature. Vivo from 2021. A music-loving kinkajou journeys overseas to deliver a love song from his dead master to a retiring singer. 3 stars. It's been about a year since I watched it, and I remember very little about it. I love Lin-Manuel Miranda, and the song Love's Gonna Pick You Up is a definite earworm. But other than that, I'm kind of drawing a blank. Set in the distant future. Aniara from 2018. A spaceship carrying settlers to Mars is knocked off course, causing the consumption of passengers to consider their place in the universe. 4 stars. This had a great realistic ending. It's depressing, but a truthful take on the perils of space travel. Definite rewatch. Rich versus Poor. Kamala Rocket from 2018. As the lives of rich and poor passengers aboard a steamship unfold, buried secrets, lustful affairs, and selfish desires are exposed. This is a Bangladeshi film, and translated, the title means The Orange Ship. I gave this 2.5 stars. The story was good, but I didn't enjoy the execution that much. Set during your favorite time period, which is the 80s for me. Sing Street from 2016. A boy escapes his strained family life by starting a band in order to impress a girl he likes. I gave this 4.5 stars. My favorite time period is the 1980s. I made music videos back then in the same way that the kids in this movie did. I own this one on DVD. The Riddle of the Model is a catchy tune, and the music video parody is spot on. I would recommend Sing Street to people who love coming-of-age stories and films set in the 1980s. Gravity from 2013. 2 astronauts work together to survive after an accident leaves them stranded in space. 4.5 stars. This is the first of 3 Sandra Bullock films I watched during this challenge. It was directed, co-produced, co-written, and filmed by Alfonso Cuarón. There are very few famous directors who are also celebrated cinematographers, and the cinematography made me feel as though I were really in space. Gravity is a sci-fi thriller of the highest caliber. Musical In the Heights from 2021. A New York bodega owner dreams of winning the lottery and escaping to the shores of his native Dominican Republic. 4 stars. This was Lin-Manuel Miranda's year. I would recommend In the Heights to lovers of musicals, New York City, and Latino culture. Set pre-1900s. Ugetsu from 1953. A potter leaves his rural community to sell his pottery and ends up being seduced by a spirit that makes him forget all about his family, while his brother-in-law chases his dream of becoming a samurai. 4 stars. This is set during the Japanese civil wars of the 16th century. It has supernatural elements, and it's well-paced with interesting characters and good storytelling. A new release, The Lost City from 2022. I did this challenge in 2022. I don't know if I said that, but now you know. A reclusive romance novelist and her cover model get swept up in a kidnapping attempt that lands them both in a cutthroat jungle adventure. 3.5 stars. It's a fun film, but kind of forgettable. But if you enjoy Sandra Bullock, Brad Pitt, Channing Tatum, and or Daniel Radcliffe, you'll have a good time. 25th anniversary this year. Event Horizon from 1997. A rescue crew investigates a spaceship that disappeared into a black hole and has now returned with someone or something new on board. 2.5 stars. I had forgotten I'd already seen it. Critics call it The Shining in space, but it's not as good as The Shining. Features an illness, The Big Sick from 2017. When his American girlfriend contracts a mysterious illness, a Pakistan-born comedian must face her feisty parents, his family's expectations, and his true feelings. The illness is adult onset Still's disease, and I gave this 3.5 stars. It was nominated for Best Original Screenplay, and I would recommend it for rom-com lovers, although it's more of a dramedy than a comedy. A strong female lead, Miss Congeniality from 2000. An ugly duckling FBI agent goes undercover as a contestant to catch a killer at the American Miss pageant. 3.5 stars. I chose a strong female lead where strong didn't solely indicate physical strength. The main character possesses intellect, compassion, a sense of humor, focus, bravery, and beauty, as well as physical strength. She is multi-dimensional and not a superhero. The film is cute and breezy. Catch Me If You Can from 2002. Based on a true story, a young con man is relentlessly pursued by an FBI agent. 4 stars. This had a great cast. Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hanks, Christopher Walken, and Amy Adams. It's a wonderful, entertaining film, and I would recommend it to almost anyone. Based around a sport, Fighting with My Family from 2019. When the siblings of former wrestler parents get the chance to audition for WWE, they learn that becoming a WWE superstar demands more than they ever imagined possible. 4.5 stars. Love the cast. Florence Pugh, Vince Vaughn, Lena Headey, Nick Frost, and The Rock. It's super charming and full of heart. And although I'm not a huge fan of sports, this is one of the 3 sports films that I own and rewatch on DVD. The others are Bend It Like Beckham and Blades of Glory. A remake, True Grit from 2010. A stubborn 14-year-old farm girl hires a boozy, trigger-happy lawman to track down her father's murderer. 3 stars. This remake was slowly paced and not as fun as the original. The characters were more colorful in the original, and John Wayne was just iconic in his role. I would recommend the original. A film festival winner, East Side Sushi from 2014. An immigrant single mother, disenfranchised by her life as a fruit cart vendor, takes a job at a Japanese restaurant where she secretly studies the sushi chefs. 4.5 stars. This had 11 festival wins, and I was introduced to this film and its producer through my current practices class. This is my favorite locally made indie film. I like its heart, comedic moments, and freshness of subject matter. I would recommend East Side Sushi to lovers of Mexican and Japanese culture, Oakland, movies with strong female leads, and family-friendly films. A black and white film, Love Nest from 1951. When a serviceman returns home from the war, he discovers that his well-meaning wife has invested his wages in a rundown apartment building full of colorful tenants. 3 stars. I might have enjoyed this one more if it had been shot in color. I'd recommend it to Marilyn Monroe completionists and fans of writer I.A.L. Diamond. It had its charm, but was for the most part forgettable. A sequel, Thor: Love and Thunder from 2022. Thor enlists the help of Valkyrie, Korg, and his ex-girlfriend Jane Foster to fight Gore the God Butcher, who intends to make the gods extinct. 3.5 stars. I liked this movie a lot more than most reviewers. I found the screaming goat gag hilarious because it never stopped. And although it was not as fun as Thor Ragnarok, it's for fans of comedy, Marvel, Chris Hemsworth, and Taika Waititi. If you like those things, see it. Set during the Great Depression. Sounder from 2003. The oldest son in a family of sharecroppers embarks on a journey to find his father, who was imprisoned for stealing food. I gave this one 2.5 stars. I mistakenly thought this was the celebrated 1972 film, but it was actually a Disney remake. I think it was a made-for-TV movie. I wouldn't recommend it because the setup is slow and the story just lacks focus. And I kind of just wish I had rewatched Paper Moon for this challenge instead. A book adaptation, Leave No Trace from 2018. A father and his teen daughter, living in content isolation, find their lives uprooted when authorities move them back into society. 3.5 stars. I cried at the end of this. It's a great indie survivalist drama, but it's not for viewers who prefer spectacle over substance. 36. Your favorite film. That would be Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. Yes, I am a Citizen Kane lover, and this movie came out in 1941. Following the death of publishing tycoon Charles Foster Kane, reporters scramble to uncover the meaning of his final utterance, Rosebud. 5 stars. Orson Welles produced, directed, co-wrote, and starred in this masterpiece. It's my favorite film for its excellence in all categories: story, cinematography, editing, sound design, acting, directing, makeup, sets, costumes, everything. I've seen it a dozen times. It was nominated for 9 Academy Awards, but it only won for Best Original Screenplay. Natural disaster film, The Quake from 2018. A geologist races against time to save his estranged wife and 2 children when a devastating earthquake strikes Oslo, Norway. I gave this 3 stars. It is a lesser successor to the great film The Wave. I would recommend this to lovers of Norwegian cinema and disaster films. Norway is beautiful. Unfortunately, this film is not very memorable. Set in your location or region. Us from 2019. A family's serene beach vacation turns to chaos when their doppelgangers appear and terrorize them. 3 stars. The depiction of the Santa Cruz Beach boardwalk was fantastic. It's funny that people shoot horror movies at such a beautiful tourist destination. I was an extra in the tethered chain of people on the beach, so you can't really see me, but I'm there. And I would recommend this to horror fans and Santa Cruz fans and locals. About a composer, musician, band, or group. That Thing You Do from 1996. A wily manager helps a small-town band achieve big-time success with the release of a Beatlesque song in 1964. 4 stars. Now, the challenge page in my book differed from the table of contents summary. It was supposed to be about an actual composer, musician, band, or group, which I didn't realize until I went to write in my notes, because I was just going off the the table of contents summary. I could have used Elvis for this challenge, which I saw a couple of weeks later, but anyway, regardless, Tom Hanks should write and direct more movies. This is a fun family film. I think it should be like a regular holiday watch. Great theme song too, That Thing You Do. A foreign film, Super Me from 2019. A struggling screenwriter discovers an ability to bring antiques from his dreams and into the real world, but his new life soon unravels. 4 stars. This is a Chinese film, and there's a screenwriter protagonist. I would recommend this to people who love superhero and fantasy films. I thought the effects were great, and the location was one I was unfamiliar with, which made watching it more fun. I'll probably rewatch this in the future. A holiday movie, Coco from 2017. When a 12-year-old boy is accidentally transported to the land of the dead, he seeks the help of his great-great-grandfather to return home and reverse his family's ban on music. 4.5 stars. The holiday is the Day of the Dead, and This joyful celebration of family members who have passed is something I wish my culture did. The film is charming, fun, and bittersweet. And by the way, Coco is the grandmother's name, not the protagonist. First film of a famous director, Songs My Brothers Taught Me from 2015. With an older brother in jail and living with their single mother on Pine Ridge Reservation, Johnny and his sister Joshuan's lives develop new challenges when their absentee cowboy father suddenly dies. 2.5 stars. I've seen all of Chloe Zhao's features now, and my favorite is her second film, The Rider. Her first feature is slow, lyrical, and without drive. It's only for completists and art cinema lovers or those interested in life on reservations. Other first films watched during this challenge were Ivan's Childhood, Fruitvale Station, Get Out, and Citizen Kane. Set in a College, Last Night in Soho from 2021. An aspiring fashion designer travels to the 1960s via her dreams, where she becomes obsessed with a glamorous and ambitious young singer. 4 stars. The college is the London College of Fashion. And rest in peace, Diana Rigg. It opens with a title card saying for Diana. And this was her last film. And you know that I love her from the original British series, The Avengers. Anyway, I would recommend this film to fans of horror, Edgar Wright, Anya Taylor-Joy, and Diana Rigg. Best Original Score winner, Up from 2009. A 78-year-old man is determined to reach South America in order to keep a promise he made to his deceased wife. 5 stars. The composer was Michael Giacchino, and the opening montage is tear-inducing, and the score is like half responsible for that. This film is charming and heartwarming and a definite rewatch. My Fair Lady from 1964. In 1910's London, a snobbish phonetics professor agrees to a wager that he can make a crude flower girl presentable in high society. 4.5 stars. The play was Pygmalion by George Bernard Shaw, and I read the play for the first time before rewatching the musical. In the play, Eliza does not end up with Higgins. It's more of a feminist piece. The only reason I gave 4.5 stars instead of 5 is because of the slow ending. It's a little too drawn out. I would remove about 3 of the boring songs in the final act. But I would recommend this film to most people. The dialogue and most of the songs are fabulous. And the actor who plays the father character is great. A movie with your favorite actor or actress. The Dead Zone from 1983. 5 years after a car crash, a teacher awakens from a coma to discover he has gained the terrible ability to see people's futures and pasts when he touches them. 4.5 stars. This is based on a novel by Stephen King, and it's got great acting by my favorite actor, Christopher Walken. There's a bit of gore, but other than that, I would recommend it to just about anyone. About a famous person. Tesla from 2020. A freewheeling take on visionary inventor Nikola Tesla, his interactions with Thomas Edison and J.P. Morgan's daughter Anne, and his breakthroughs in transmitting electrical power and light. 2.5 stars. This film is just a little too artsy at times, and the beginning is rather boring. I've always been interested in Nikola Tesla, but I propose that this subject could be wildly successful in an anachronistic Baz Luhrmann type film, a la Moulin Rouge. Set in a country you want to visit. Woman at War from 2018. An environmental activist plots to disrupt the operations of an aluminum plant in the Icelandic highlands. 4 stars. I just really have always wanted to go to Iceland. Someday I will get there. This film has fourth wall breaking, which was a little weird at first, but it's just charming. It has its own style, and I love eco activism films, and I love the Icelandic views. And yeah, I'm gonna rewatch this one. Based around a religion, Benedetta from 2021. A 17th century nun in Italy suffers from disturbing religious and erotic visions. 3.5 stars. The religion is Catholicism. This also could have been my controversial film pick. It's based on a true story, but Benedetta is like Showgirls set in a convent. It's got beautiful cinematography. If you like Paul Verhoeven films or Henry and June, you should enjoy it. But it's not for everyone, especially conservative Christians. 50th anniversary this year, 2022. The Godfather from 1972. 5 stars. The aging patriarch of an organized crime dynasty transfers control of his empire to his reluctant youngest son. This film is a masterpiece in all areas: acting, directing, editing, score, cinematography, and storytelling. And it does not glamorize gangsters. I just love it. The Fabelmans from 2022. While watching Super 8 footage that he shot, a young aspiring filmmaker discovers a family secret in the frames. 4 stars. This is a lovely film inspired by the life of one of America's greatest directors, Steven Spielberg. I grew up shooting Super 8 films like the main character Sam, and because of that, there's just a lot of nostalgia for me. And the final film, number 52, a movie released the decade you were born. I was born in the 60s. Let's Make Love from 1960. When a billionaire learns that he is to be satirized in an off-Broadway review, he passes himself off as an actor in order to get closer to the beautiful star of the show. 2.5 stars. This one's not very good, and it's only for Marilyn Monroe completionists. The cinematography, editing, costumes, and hairstyling were just not good. It was directed by George Cukor, who also directed My Fair Lady, which was released 4 years later and is excellent in all of those craft areas. So, maybe he learned a lot, I don't know, but this just was not a good film. So anyway, that's it for the 52-week movie challenge. So out of the 52 films that I watched, 24, almost half, were rewatches. The challenges could be completed in any order, and I thought it was really fun at first. And then when I got to about mid-November, it was a slog because I had only left the kind of uninteresting categories, the ones that I just really didn't want to watch necessarily. So saying that, if I were to redo this book or, rewrite it, or have the people that make this book, if they want to update it, here are some suggestions. I would remove the aspect ratio. I mean, that was the weirdest one. I always had to go to IMDb and then scroll all the way down just to find the aspect ratio of a film. And, the aspect ratio doesn't really affect your enjoyment of a film, I don't think. I mean, you can at me in the comments if you want, but I would remove that one. I would remove all the personal questions that they were the same for every entry, and it was just so redundant, and they weren't necessarily questions I liked or wanted to elaborate on, such as why did you choose this film? What character did you identify with and why? Were you surprised by the ending? All these questions I would have put, if I had stuff to say about that, I would use the bottom question, which is Is there anything else you'd like to add? And then I could add stuff there. Like for instance, say it was in IMAX, so that is an interesting aspect ratio. I would, write it there. Anything else you'd like to add? Yeah, it was in IMAX. And other proposed changes that I would make would be I would combine the foreign film and the film with subtitles. Because most of the times, if you're watching a film with subtitles, it's a foreign film. So I would just combine those categories. Also, I would remove the black and white category and keep silent because I'm pretty sure all silent films are black and white. I would also get rid of set during the Great Depression and set pre-1900s. I mean, those are just films that I did not care to watch, and I don't know how many of you out there would really, be like, oh, wow, I get to watch a film about the Great Depression. Also, I would add some categories. So combine and get rid of the ones I just said, and then you could add a Best Director winner, a directed by a woman, superhero film, or like Best Actor and Actress winner, stuff like that. I think that would be just a little more fun. But in general, I enjoyed doing this challenge. There are some other people on YouTube who had started this challenge, but they never finished it. I mean, I don't know if they did, but they never made follow-up videos. So, for me, it's easy. I do watch a movie a week, and I had a whole list of movies to watch. So all the categories were films that, I probably had somewhere in my list to watch. There's also one of these, everyone's a critic for horror movies. I don't think I'm going to do that one. I just can't, right now, I can't do another like year-long challenge like that. But it would be interesting to see what the categories are within that, like 52 different kind of horror films. What if one's set during the Great Depression? I don't know. Anyway, but I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.